This is the Simpit, I'm Ichihoya, and this is an episode of setup guiding. So for a very long time there was like just some sort of watch me drive videos, just some random racing going on my channel, going on here on the Simpit. But after a period of months and weeks, we are back with some more informative show. At least we try to be. And for that reason, I'm very happy and very proud and very thankful that Robert has joined me back here on the stream, is back on the show. So his busy days are somewhat over, or actually starting again. No one really knows. But
yes, they are starting, but it's okay. Hello, everyone.
exactly, I'm very happy that Robert is back here. And yeah, how you doing? I hope you are going to enjoy your weekend pretty much. There you go. What is a weekend?
Here is a concept that lazy people really enjoy, but since I can't afford to be lazy, this is a really, I don't know, fairy tale concept for me. So yeah, it's I really miss having a weekend, a true weekend. So nah, I'm not gonna enjoy those weekends very much.
That is bad news, I would say.
Yeah, but next week I'll have some more time, so we can do some more streaming. And also, if anyone is interested, and it's a big if, Studio 397 decides to finally release the new endurance pack for R Factor 2, I'm seriously considering reviewing, or at least giving a first impressions stream for those cars which are going to be released. But if that happens, that's yet to be seen.
We'll be very much interested in that, and I would, you guys, I would love if you could get short feedback out about the sounding, whether Robert is alright to hear, especially when me driving the car, as I'm trying to get myself in somewhat of car track sim, whatever. So Robert, you might have just seen it. I was like keen enough to get on with a setup being done by George Weissman and being posted in the ACR Zakspeed chat. So that is some sort of the baseline where I'd like to start from.
Okay, that's something useful. It's always better to tweak a setup which is already more or less thereabouts, rather than going from scratch. But yeah, I will at least try to explain anything that I do so that every change that we maybe or maybe not do is thoroughly explained. And if you have any questions, I mean, you guys in the chats, shoot them away. I'm gonna try answer them the best I can.
So that's it. Would be a real pleasure to improve the setup. It just after the in-lap, it feels quite okay on the balance. Just need to see whether I can totally make use from its real performance.
Brandon says that I'm a bit low. I moved my microphone a bit closer to my mouth, so maybe that's gonna fix it, but if it doesn't, then...
Yeah, then I'm gonna adjust the sound again.
Yep.
I've turned the engine or the sim quite low already, but there's still some margin left to go lower.
It's actually quite okay. I just tried listening to the stream and it sounds okay.
Yeah, maybe there was just some delay on the YouTube side of live being involved, like the usual 35 seconds you have.
I'm on Twitch, so.
Yeah, but I mean, Brendan, what Brendan said was on YouTube, like 25 seconds after I readjusted the sounds.
Fair enough.
Yeah. By chance, do you remember what we did? I think a mid 58s we did last
race
time.
Pace or
yeah, race pace.
Race pace, it was in 58s. 58.7, 58.8, thereabouts.
Right, so just I'm aware of first lap 159.6. Major mistake though through Spoon corner.
I saw, and that was a combination of your brake bias and a bit too much power on your left foot. Ooh, easy does it.
Right, I think that is something we want to change because that spin felt weird.
And it looked weird, which... maybe try doing two things, and let's see if that happens again. And if it does, then it might be an issue on your side, which will mean trying a bit different approach on braking towards first corner and spoon.
Mm-hmm.
But if those two changes are gonna fix the issue, then never mind. What you need to do is to lower the car on the rear. Let's think how low. Let's go with 2 millimeters as a start and give it 1 or 2 clicks more on brake bias towards the front.
Right height is too low at the front now.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's an easy fix. You just have to raise the front just a bit, just a hair.
All right.
When you lower the rear, you also lower the front to some degree, but yeah. What would help is if you could try being a bit less on and off on brake pedal. I have noticed that you try dancing more on brake pedal and throttle, which is okay in some corners, but in corner like the first one at Suzuka, you have to be as linear as you can. Try giving it all on the first go and then easing off the pedal steadily and then applying throttle. Don't try to go brake throttle because it can mess up the balance quite a lot and some weird dynamics can appear.
Yeah, speaking of weird dynamics. Too much on the brakes.
Yep, that was too much on the brakes. Also, I'm not sure how high the ABS on iRacing goes, but your ABS is on 8. Didn't you race on like 12 before?
No, I raced on 7 on my setup.
Also, the higher values are more ABS or less ABS?
But they should be more.
Okay.
In fact, that is either less or 12 is off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, 12 was off, whereas 11 is maximum. Thank you, Steam King. This uphill left-hander at turn 7 is like so difficult to position the car right with the brakes.
That's done.
Could be. I'm not too aware of the names.
This corner is actually... this corner is very turn-off, let's say. You can have really good setup for that corner, but if you mess up the entry, it's gonna feel awful, and you're gonna start chasing your tail because of this. And the most simple way to fix the handling in that corner is paying real attention to how you enter the corner. If you enter it at exactly perfect degree, then it's one of the easiest corners at the circuit. Okay, let's see a clean lap, and then I'm gonna talk.
Let me do that first sector after that lap again.
Okay, I already think I know what's going on.
I have a fear, yeah.
Yeah, after seeing this lap, I'm not sure what's going on. But
To me it feels like that the weight from the rear end goes way too quickly to the front.
that too, but the issue is not the weight going from rear to front quickly. It's actually the dampening of the compression at the rear is too high, which results with I call it gliding. What it actually means that when the car doesn't have enough dampening or too much dampening at either axle, either it's front or rear, if it's too damped, the car basically behaves for a rip moment, like a rock thrown on a frozen lake, which tries to grip and then jumps a bit over the surface because it's way too dumped. The best way to fix it is to give it a bit less dampening in the rear, which should result with a bit slower transfer at the rear. Also the compression of the springs should be a bit more free. So I'm expecting more stability in first sector for you, especially. Also spoon should do a little better for you.
Alright, I'm coming in then. However, want to finish that lap, want to go into pit lane, so I don't hand myself another penalty in that race later.
George, do you want to join us?
I'm in an offline practice session though at the minute because I think there's no public practice server right now. Not sure though.
Sure, I meant in voice chat.
Alright, still not perfect, but right, while you are looking at the setup right now, I'm gonna see whether I can bring up George. We might have to swap to ACR internal group chat though.
Not an issue. Totally fine. Wow, that's really high camber.
Yes, it is.
On the rear. Wow. I would love to see telemetry from this, but I know it's gonna take a while, especially since you don't have a converted, so you can convert the files from iRacing extensions to Motec extensions.
Well, we could sort that. Like, I do not know whether... do you have that converter?
I had one before I bought new SSD.
Oh.
But yeah.
Fair enough.
But I know which one is it, so if it comes to that, I'm gonna be prepared for this next time.
No worries. Right, so you've seen the issue, how to solve it.
Yeah, I totally know, but there are a lot of things which need to be fixed here because I can't see this working. I can't see this working properly. But like I said, I'm not fan of changing too many things at once, so we're gonna have it one by one. Let's try first of all lowering the low speed compression dampening at the rear. Let's go to 5 or 6. You decide.
5.
Okay, and try it. Let's see if that fixes your issue with the rear end being a bit slidey. And if it doesn't, then we're gonna have another step which should be taken already, but we are not going to do that just to avoid the confusion that it could create for some people that are watching us.
I think in order to really define problem or balance, I would always love to do the out lap, do 2 timed laps, and then pull in after the second timed lap.
Yes, more or less, yes. But already the car at the SS
feels a lot better.
Looked more marked, yes.
I'm not
Yeah.
too sure whether to take the hairpin in first or second.
I don't know how tall the gears are in iRacing, but in Africa 2 I take that hairpin in AMG with second. First gear is too low for that. Yeah, the car looks much better right now. The rear end, for the people that are listening to us, the rear end right now is more free to compress itself under the load when turning left and right, because that was more of an issue than the traction over the corners. The turning point was the issue when Michi steered left and right. There was this transfer of weight from one side to the other, and when you have too high dampening, it results with the load not being transferred properly, and that creates almost like a hammerhead effect, which could be easily seen in some corners when Michel tried to steer and the rear end felt like it was about to no, I'm gonna slide to the outside a bit more. That's exactly what's causing that. George, I have no idea which set he's riding on right now, but if it's V1, it truly wasn't that great one. There are so many things that are wrong with this setup, but I will fix it, no worries. You will benefit from this too. Or maybe not, because I can't remember if you are driving AMG or R8.
He's driving AMG here as well.
Oh, okay. Sorry for the hiccup.
Guys, I'm gonna tell you the ambient temperature after this lap. George, be ready to be in an ACR internal group chat on the iRacing squad. We're gonna join you there. Too late on the brakes.
Yes, that was that.
Yeah, I nearly kept it though.
Nearly. But yeah, that was too late on the brakes.
I was too early on throttle, so gonna stop it at that point. Oops. Right. So ambient temperature just for you guys. It's 30 degrees. For you, George, it is V1 of the setup. Right, and I'm not sure what you want to change there, Robert, but here's the second part on it.
What I want to change is Camber, because there is no way in any universe which that Camber would work with such stiff springs and ARB. Show me ARB at the rear, because I believe it's quite high also.
Yes, it is.
Then that's a pro tip for you guys as well. If you go really stiff on springs, anti-roll bar, you should avoid having massive cambers, because when you have such a stiff car, there is very little movement that can be done by the car in corners or under acceleration, braking, which results with not enough roll happening on the car, and roll is needed for camber to work. So if you have really high camber, you need to have a bit more roll in a car. When you get rid of this roll, you also need to get rid of some of the camber, because the camber gain is not going to happen as much. And camber gain only happens when someone said that iRacing prefer much camber with this tire model, didn't it? Well, my knowledge is based on real life. Maybe iRacing does it like this, maybe not. What I'm saying right now is purely based how the real life works. But I'm really interested how it works if we change it to a bit lower settings. Front can stay about there. It's not tragic, but the rear is way too high, and I'm really keen to see how camber like 2.4, because I don't want to go too low on the first go. Let's try 2.4.
Let's hop over to the iRacing Voice 1 channel so George can join us then.
Sure. Hopping on now?
Yep. That worked precisely well.
Yep.
Hey George.
Hey guys, how you doing? You right?
Yes, I am.
I believe this is the first time we actually talk to each other almost face to face.
It is, Robert. Good to meet you.
You too. Always a pleasure on my side.
Critiquing all the cambers, do you know what?
Yeah.
One thing about that is, well, I mean, it would be great to test some different stuff actually, because
yes,
a lot of the perception in iRacing and like around the community is that if you just ramp up those cambers, it helps. It's a bit, I don't know exactly what's happening with the tyre model to make it such an advantage, but every time I get a setup and I'm comfortable with it, I then honestly almost up the cambers by like 0.5, and it just immediately gives me like half a second. It's insane.
Well, it's fair enough. I'm not saying that having big camber is high camber is something wrong. Quite the contrary, I'm just saying that in our world, the world that we live in, how it works, if you have a stiff car, having less camber is the way to go. And since this car already has the stiffest springs and quite stiff anti-roll bar springs, I would consider having almost -3 degrees on the camber is maybe too high. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe iRacing likes like this. Maybe not. I'm not saying that I'm really right on this, but that's how I would treat it in real life. If iRacing wants it differently, then I'm totally fine with rolling with it. But I need to see. I need to really see with my own eyes how the car reacts to a bit lower camber and then with the higher camber. And if it works well with the higher camber, I have no issues with running it.
Cool. Yeah, it'd be really good to test. It's interesting what you said about so is it because you basically don't have as much contact patch of the tyre then when you're going through a turn when it's out that stiff?
I'm gonna try to give you a picture. I'm trying to find a really good example which could help you visualize how it all performs under remote. But imagine a really stiff box on a 4 wooden wheels, because we don't really want to imagine rubber or anything else. Let's do it simple. And you camber them just a little bit. And you put those wheels directly to those bolts. You just attach them with no strings, no anything attached to it. So this is fixed. Those wheels are fixed to this box. And you try to go quite quickly through a corner. If high load is applied to those tires, and the car doesn't roll even one bit. So therefore, those tires need to gain some camber to overcome the not so much roll from the car. So when you don't have that, you have to take into account that the roll has to come from somewhere, and that roll comes from a tire, which is called camber gain. And when you have an actual suspension which has springs, dampers, anti-roll bar, and everything else, then therefore the whole box can tilt from one side to other just a little, or a bit more than just a little, and therefore it takes away some of the forces which are applied when you are cornering. Therefore, there is sometimes more, sometimes less energy coming towards the wheel. So the camber gain also changes because of this. People need to really understand that the car is not really a whole bag of like 500 adjustments, 500 values, 500 things that you can change. People should need to realize a setup in a car should be like an organism. You need to adjust everything while thinking how this one change will affect the other. Therefore, every time you change springs, anti-roll bar, you need to think what does it do to dampers, because changing a spring setting also changes the dampers without changing them. So it's really, everything is interlinked. Everything is interlinked, and so are tires, cambers, and everything else.
Sure. Oh, that's really clear. No, it's good.
I was watching Michi through that lap, and it was actually not
Don't jinx it, don't jinx it, don't 2000s, fuck me. Yeah, it was not complete rubbish.
It was okay.
Just the braking turn one, that is what I need fixing. I need to stop attacking that corner. Brandon, the actual event of the IMSA holds place in the morning, so I do believe that a 30-degree setup is probably the worst you can have. Right. Feedback on the car. It felt it was, I believe it was quicker through the turns. The actual cornering didn't felt any different. However, the car was a lot more snappy.
Really?
Yeah, I remember the first. I would need to have to drive again, because I remember the first sector I set. When starting the SS into turn 3, I completely lost the rear and came offline, and yet I still set a purple sector 1, which made me think that despite the actual balance did not felt different while cornering itself, I felt that there is more roll or more cornering ability in the car according to the time I was gaining. However, I would also say I lost it a little bit on stability, or lost a little bit on confidence on it. As I said, I would have to drive it again because the first lap I was setting a lot with the volumes.
Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna ask you to do
Yeah,
two
sure.
changes. One is I still think that you could improve your curb riding with this curb. The cashier triangle chicane could be improved vastly with a bit better high-speed dampers, which we often neglect. Even in our previous streams, we didn't really pay attention to those things, but those are really important and can give you almost free lap time everywhere. So I'm really surprised to see such a high-speed compression dampening on both front and rear on this car, where this track is famous from being a bit bumpy and having some curves that you have to ride on. So having such a stiff dampening, I'm not sure if it's the way to go, so I'm gonna advise you to lower it by 3 clicks, front and rear.
So it's,
And if, yeah.
So I was just going to say that my understanding is that high speed, if you're talking about compression dampening,
Yes.
the higher the value, the more easily it compresses.
No. No. Yes, the initial reaction
I tested.
To actually hitting a curb. Let's imagine hitting a really high curb, and the initial reaction of the damper on a curb is gonna be quicker with more stiff dampening. But then, after this initial hit on the curb, it's gonna really slow down the compression, which can result with a car feeling like it hit a curve which is twice the height of the actual curve. And having a bit softer dampening can result with a bit slower initial response to hitting the curve, but then it is a lot more mellow on the curve, which results not detaching the wheel, the contact of the wheel from the curb, and you want to have this contact on the curb because having a wheel which jumps right off the curb that you just hit is not beneficial, because that's, well, wheel's control, because a wheel in the air doesn't do anything, and you really want to have a car which still reacts to your input even though you are driving on a curb. And then when it lands from a bit higher position than it should. Therefore, it needs to compress a lot more energy, a lot more. It takes a lot longer, and what you want is to have, I'll say, the shortest period of this whole movement, whole action done in the shortest period of time possible. So therefore, we want to have a dampening set to a level in which the wheel doesn't jump right off the curb and then lands in a way in which doesn't create oscillation. And having high dampening can result when you are landing, it doesn't allow absorbing this landing and can create this jumping feeling of a car.
That's what it does right now.
See, the thing is I honestly think that the setting is backwards in this, or what it's backwards to what it seems, because when you go onto the low speed dampening for the same reason, it actually tells you in the definition that it makes it softer by increasing the value.
Oh, so the higher values are softer and higher values
so,
are...
because I set it really soft.
Let me see.
Those.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same. I was going over the curbs, Deckner 1, I was going over the curbs and that chicane, and I felt like the initial curbing was good, but as soon as I left the curb, the car was starting to bounce. And I just show you the description of the damping, saying high-speed compression damping primarily affects how this corner of the car responds over the bumps and curves. Must be tuned to find optimum performance. But that is not saying something about the values itself.
No, it doesn't. It's only the only way that I've looked at it is that if you look at the low speed equivalent in terms of how it defines the compression dampener, it does give you that indication that the higher it is, the lower, the less, the softer it is.
Let me quickly go out with 1-1 on the clicks and see how the car behaves, so we can get a clarification on it.
Actually, a good idea.
So if it is stiffer, what would we expect it to just literally just
jump around?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just smash off a thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And we want wheels that are as much in contact with that curve as possible. So
Cool,
it's just rolls over it. It doesn't jump over it, but rolls. It's
Yes.
quite difficult to achieve actually, because every curve is different. So having a perfect behavior on every single curve is impossible to have. But if you know which curves you are essential for good lap times to ride on, then we just focus on those and leave the rest to RNG. Pretty much.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it's appropriate to go on to yet, but then how does it then relate, Robert, when you've got the other setting, which is the dampening setting? So is that like more to do with the landing back down again and how it absorbs the landing of the car? How does that work?
I'm not sure what you are asking, but you're asking what happens when you have dampening on the compression or on rebound?
On the rebound, sorry, yeah, so
On
the rebound.
So, yeah. It is really important to have it's the whole action should be linear. So therefore, when you hit a curve, the wheel jumps up, and the final phase of the compression, that's the point, the transition point where when the rebound settings starts off its action, and the higher you have it, the slower the decompression will be. So therefore, the extension of the spring will be slower, and therefore sometimes you can even land on a road without your wheel being fully extended, because you have too much dampening on your rebound, and having not enough rebound can result with a wheel which is fully extended way before landing, and there are pros and cons for this. Ideally, what you want is to have a wheel which is not fully extended, but extended to, let's say, 80-90%, more or less.
And is that just because most of the energy is then happened, so it's not like right at the end, so it may, like, what would happen if it was like fully extended beforehand?
What happens is what happens when you land with fully extended wheel. It behaves more snappy to landing. Therefore, having your, I don't know what value you will have on your compression, but if your compression is set to very high, therefore it can result with a landing which feels like a really rough landing when you are on aeroplane. When the plane lands and when the pilot isn't really soft with the landing, and you feel like you are hitting a couple of times the road. It's like bum bum bum. This is what happens. So it has to be harmonic. The ideal scenario is when you have a compression happening when you hit the curb, and the expansion slowly, but not too slow, happening on the rebound, the decompression. And when you land, the best scenario is when your wheel compresses at more or less the rate at which damper allows it to compress itself, so it doesn't bottom out, because it can when it lands. And if it doesn't bottom out, then if it doesn't jump, which can happen if the dampening is too high, because the energy has to go somewhere, it doesn't vanish. So if it can't go to compress the wheel again, it creates this oscillating force which is not desirable, because it results with a car which isn't settled on the road. It isn't calmly navigating the corner once it lands. It just tries to settle itself on the road, so it has to be harmonics. Therefore, Multec is a really good tool for dialing it out. And I even saw someone in a chat, Jamal, I believe that was, who was mentioning Multec, which is a tool which I've used for years, and I truly believe that everyone should know how to work with Multec, at least on a basic level. I'm not demanding everyone to be an expert in Multec, and you don't really have to be one to find out some basic stuff. So I really can tell you guys, try Multec, don't feel intimidated by it. You can get your head around it pretty quickly, but if you go really deep with Multec, it's gonna take years to fully master it. I've been working with Multec a long time, and I still feel like a noob with this. But yeah, that's me. I'm always trying to learn something more, something new, and there were times, even after years, when I opened Multec once again and found out some stuff which I wasn't aware of, even though it was like 5, 6, 7 years after the first initial startup of the software.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you certainly already convinced me to sort of be looking at that stuff. I thought we would look at some telemetry stuff through VRS, but yeah, I don't think it's got anything like the level that you sort of described to me.
On a basic level, there are maybe 3 or 4 things that you really need to look for there. If you want more, then go for it, yeah, but for me, in my opinion, there are only 3 or 4 things that everyone should know how to read, how to analyze it, and how to react to what you see. Those things are camber, dampers, ride height, and downforce. Of course, if it's the car that has downforce. For example, in Formula cars, you can change your downforce levels without any time touching your wing levels. You can even change your downforce levels by 20% without touching your wing levels. So it's really essential to know what you are doing with everything else to gain downforce.
Sure, that makes sense, and it is real. You know, just from me speaking, you know, I've started kind of doing my own setup work as we're sort of seeing, and it's really tricky without something like that to actually understand whether you're sort of trying to overcompensate it with your driving or what you're changing, because you just can't. Even if you change one thing, like you say, you're changing more than that, so it's very difficult to just then go off field alone.
Yes, because everything is interlinked. Everything is interlinked, and that makes the whole stuff tricky. With experience, there is less and less reliance on telemetry, Motec. I use Motec maybe 20-30% of the time when I'm working on setup. 70 or 80% is purely based on feel. I really consider it to be down to experience. Once you really know what will happen if you do this or do that, it's quite okay to use only your feel, your experience to navigate every change that you want to make. But the fine-tune, the last few drops of performance that you want to gain from the car always comes from telemetry, and I usually use telemetry only for that, for gain those last drops of performance.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but for people that are just starting doing sim racing telemetry setups, going almost 100% telemetry is not a really big error, to be honest. It's quite advisable because you also learn from this, and if your brain is like it's not a dead weight and it actually works, then I can convince anyone that even after a month or two being fully reliant from the telemetry, your brain will pick up some things that happen when you do that, what the car does when you see this in telemetry and so on, and it catches those things. It catches and it stays there. So after a while, the reliance on telemetry on Motec will go lower and lower and lower. Oh, Jamal, I can see that you are a Nicky Team fan.
At least the cars didn't get airborne there.
Yep. And which settings were those? The lowest ones or the highest ones?
Those were the lowest ones again, because I somewhat felt not too much of a difference, and in fact it feels like the lowest ones are even quicker than the higher ones. Despite I just set the personal best with the higher ones. But just from coming out of the pits, I also improved the optimal. So I want to try the second lap on the lowest ones. What I definitely not had before was that code brown in 130R. That was new to me, and it just maybe a driving error this time, but it just happened again. I think it was more of a driving related error.
Could be. I didn't see. I was opening my window. Jamal. Oh yeah.
You do have the ability to register now if you want, guys, so we can go into a session if you're nearly ready.
Copy.
Jamal, you should really consider your priorities, because every time when I'm at Nicky's stream, I pray to all gods everywhere that he doesn't sing.
Fair enough.
If he doesn't sing, that it's okay. But yeah, playing with him is...
Just watch Techno 1, and then you will determine whether it's right or wrong.
Okay, what I saw is rebound setting on high speed being yet to be adjusted to, because changing one thing without changing the other is always a very bad idea.
But would you say the car is like behaving as you want it to be according to the high speeds?
Well, what I saw was the car being quite, let's say, I expected it to look like this with those settings. That's the best I can say, but on the landing, where the car lands, it didn't seem like I want it to be. Therefore, we are going to do you know what? Let's go with 5 rebound dampening high speed on both front and rear.
So high speed compression dampening. What was that?
Rebound, high speed
Ah.
rebound dampening
On
5.
5. Uh-huh. And we keep the high speed compression dampening at 1?
Sure. Keep it for now, and let's see how the car deals with curbs right now. I'm not gonna say if it's gonna be better or worse, because I'm not into placebo. But maybe it will be worse, maybe it will be better. But if it's worse, if it's better, I'll explain why. Jamal, therefore you really should see a stream during which he was playing with me PUBG. You would see him raging almost every 5 seconds.
I remember
because of me.
Yeah, I remember you guys were sitting in the plane there.
You mean me and Nikki?
Yeah.
Yeah, but during that play, he was really irritated by me.
Watch that Dagna 1 again and the Dagna 2.
Sure. Beautifully. Glimmer, why I did gravitate to engineering? Well, it's the funny thing is that I'm not studying anything close to engineering because I'm studying at a medical university. So what you see,
thank you guys,
experience from me is me doing this for 10-11 years, reading lots of books, talking to many real engineers which work on bikes, on cars for as a living. And I just sat down with my notebook opened and just said, now sit down, tell me everything you know, just everything. And I have like 10-11 notebooks full of notes over the years, full of manuals. I even have spreadsheets of real cars, so if I wanted to build an actual car in a sim, I could build a whole car because I have all the physics stuff that I would need to build one. It's just my passion. The whole vehicle dynamics, racing, everything else it just calls for me. I feel like I'm being attracted to it because it's technical, and I'm always attracted to things which require a lot of focus, a lot of analyzing, a lot of...
feels wrong. It feels slower. According to the Delta Best, it tends to be slower, and what I always have, or just had it twice now, is a slide into the hairpin. And it feels understeery. Not sure whether that is related to setup.
Well, I don't know, but from what I saw on a stream, car was landing perfectly with those settings right now, because what you want is a car which lands and it feels like it's connected to the road instantly, like it's landing on a super glue. That's what you want. And when you were exactly at Degner's, the car jumped on the curb and landed, and it was reactive to every string input instantly, and that's exactly what you want.
That's actually very true. I mean, over the curbs it felt great, but it felt very understeery as well.
That could be an issue, not really linked to high-speed dampers, but to other things which we could fix. But first of all, you need to tell me more about when that understeer really kicks in. If it's on an entry, on exit, on
I would
in
say
the middle of the corner.
mid to exit, especially towards the exit, it gets worse.
Are you still on the brakes by then, or it's already on gas?
No, it's already on gas. Like the weird thing is, last time around, before we changed that setting, I could easily like not stomp on the gas, but while being on the gas, the car kept rotating. And right now, the car feels refusing to rotate further on.
Okay, let's do this. It might feel a bit awkward at first, but I want you to go back on low speed compression dampening on the rear from 5 to 6. So we are going to one click higher. And also we are going one click lower on front rebound slow speed settings from 6 to 5. Try this and let's see how it feels for you. It should work a bit better on gas, so it should give you a bit more rotation. But let's see. Let's not jinx it by saying it should be better.
Yeah.
From driving this quite a bit, the change that you're looking to make would do what I think you wanted to. It seems to have worked for when I change it that way.
Yeah. Already improving on your delta. Oh.
Are you registered for the race, Mitchie? Just make sure.
I believe so. Let me have a double check after this run. Oh wait, I can do it right now. It says join practice here, so looks like I'm registered.
Guys, and I fully expect 1-2, so no pressure.
Yeah, sure. Like we do in FSI and ACR for 100 years. Always 1-2.
Always.
I just want to get a 57 in so badly.
You will.
Lawfully through 150.
If you
Yeah.
do this with race fuel, you're gonna be really quick with quality fuel. Really good for 130R. I mean the entry.
Yeah, the exit was
so
bad.
Yeah, but the entry was really good. Well done. Okay, focus. I'm not gonna talk too much. One more.
No, doing it completely wrong
I
now.
saw.
I wanna just try something, because despite it might be not theoretically correct, we set the high speed dumping to 5, right?
Yes.
Coming out of 3. I wanna go back there and see and just do 2 laps, and because I just felt on this setting the balance was just about alright, so I expected it after the setting to be better, but it wasn't really the case. So fully towards the never change a running system thing.
Uh-huh. If it feels better for you, then sure, roll with it. Me without telemetry is still trying to, maybe not guess, because I'm not guessing here, but I'm really robbed from many senses that I would love to have. Right now what I have is only your feedback and what I see on screen.
Sure.
So yeah, having telemetry would help immensely, but you are my extension of feel. So if you say to me that you feel that the car rides a bit better with these settings or that, I'm gonna trust you. Trust your judgment.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, I have to. I have to. Yeah, that's actually true. Sometimes I forget about this. That I'm only a peer. Okay, have your 2 laps and I'm gonna grab a new coffee for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a coffee as well. And whoa! Alright, I just lost it into 130R. I better keep with what felt balance-wise alright, which was your solution. So I'd rather keep this at the minute. So Glimmeril, your question, even if math and engineering indicate a better result, do you honestly go for it and try to dismiss based upon habits you have? Habits. No, of course. I mean, if telemetry indicates something different should be quicker, then I definitely go towards it and definitely have it a try with it. You know, at the end it's sometimes happening that the telemetry indicates something that really actually is quicker, but the balance is so off that you are in desperate of losing it. I mean, that can happen, as you just saw it. I just thought that this, what I had, is quicker. However, it was so much more unstable, I did not even get the purple sector 1 when going out of pits, which I usually do, because the sector 1 on my lap was not really good. And despite all that, you know, it didn't feel very happy, and I just got my confirmation in 130R, which was beautifully twice on the old setup. However, it was complete rubbish right now, for whatever reason. So as it's 20:45, since I'm sitting in a different session than usual, I just shit myself whether that race is gonna start for me right there. So I'm just waiting for the message. Brendan, the race should start right now. So, with that being said, we should go over towards the practice or race qualification session within the next couple of minutes.
I don't know whether it's the correct mentality to have, but I always kind of have the mentality that the driver is actually the weakest link in all of the things, and if you're kind of at a point where, like Mitchie, you're saying, you don't have the confidence, or at least the confidence to have the repetition over a race distance, then even if something technically could be slightly faster, you're not able to get the maximum out of it because of either a feeling or, and then it just immediately becomes more sense to go with something that's even more familiar and more comfortable, at least in the short term.
Yeah. No, that's totally all right, Glimmeril. That is why we are here. We want to get your questions answered. Right, I'm joining some session right now. I was not like really asked to join a session, so I'm just joining a random one now on iRacing, I believe. So George, watch out whether it says connected for me, because I'm quickly getting a cup of coffee.
Sure, we'll do. Just a comment, Glimmer, we're all in a learning process always, so questions are always good. Nobody, you know, you can't really ask a silly question or anything. It's all good.
I hope it just brought me to the right session.
I should think so. It'll be a second before I'm even in, but you should have done it. There's no reason why not.
Yeah, because the game is still loading for me awfully long.
Yeah, me too. That's pretty normal.
Yeah, it says practice 3 minutes, qualify 8, race official 45 minutes. So that is the right session. Just join that in. I think qualifying is about to begin right now. And I want to get my coffee. I just got that spare minute. Right, qualify session is on for a minute. I just remove my fuel. And then we're ready to go. Good luck to you there.
Thank you. And to you.
Thanks. Have you looked at the ambient temperature, by the way? Just by chance?
Foolishly, I did not. I went straight for a race. Went straight to run. It's not too bad though. It's not hot.
I've just done. I'm just doing one of the shittiest first laps I ever did. Yeah, I even off-tracked that right now, thanks to braking on the grass.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, it took a bit longer than I thought, because my dad and uncle are setting up my
No
audio
worries.
set. So if you hear loud music coming from downstairs, that's exactly what's happening.
Oh, I'm just doing so bad.
Why?
Yeah, I'm not hitting my marks and stuff.
I'll be right back.
Like I fucked up the hairpin twice. I'm just looking for a low 58 if any. Oh, 57.8. Yeah, but still way too slow, I believe. Yeah, even puts me P8. 2/10 behind George.
Michi,
Yeah.
you know that we are being mocked on Twitch?
Yeah, that's why I put off the chat. For me personally, so I do not see it. But I can see what's going on generally.
I don't mind.
That's a standard procedure. Oh, Håkan is with us. Is in that race with us as well.
I'm back, guys. Yeah, he is. Yeah, we've got a few people in here.
Maybe he wants to join the iRacing voice as well.
Who?
Håkan Agren has qualified in P10 or 11 of the GT3s. There you go. There you are. Good evening.
Hello?
Not sure whether he got his microphone on. Anyway, gridding is on, guys. George, you here?
Certainly am.
Yep,
Hey, Håkan.
I'm here too.
It's a full house.
Great stuff. Right, I don't give a damn about chat right now, but Robert, you can sort that out for us all.
I can't because I don't have any moderation on Twitch.
By saying, well, yeah, okay, fair enough. No worries.
Right, so just to give you guys a bit of info on fuel,
Yeah.
what you'll find is that there is the possibility to get an additional lap. So it can be that sort of 36, 37 is needed. Other races it doesn't quite get there. It's very difficult to determine just because if there's a fast guy, it's going to change everything, or if there's an accident. So
Lol. Look at the gridding. So car ahead, ACR Zakspeed Mercedes. Car behind, ACR Zakspeed Mercedes. We've all...
Nice, we lined up.
Yeah, we managed to line up. Is it?
no.
It's going to be a fairly interesting split, I believe.
Yeah, 6k iRating, the top guy. It's good. I had a good race for him yesterday. It's good. Good luck, boys.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
Oh, I was there the whole time and got pinched. Nearly ended badly for me.
Yeah, I saw that in 130R. Looked scary. Are that
I'm
all
not
the...
sure. It felt okay. I mean, like I was there. My spot.
Yeah, but the
I
guy
was
is
there.
all over the place. He's doing mistakes everywhere. I'm just not trusting him really. That guy has been like off track for 4 or 5 times already. So do we.
Right side. Clear.
There's a GTE in the middle of this pack up here.
Is it?
Yes, causing chaos.
Of course, what else? Oof. What the hell? Someone was just about to rejoin the track right into the
Yeah.
traffic.
He did it after you.
Really? Did he collect
Yeah.
you?
Nope, but close.
Oh.
Watch out, guys, there's a slow GTE. It's struggling, damaged, and limping still.
It's on the right hand side of Spoon.
Past him.
Good job. Which is so slow, it's ridiculous.